Good morning. Welcome. This is the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. You're on the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm, and it is brought to you by Metadime Digital Network. I want to welcome you today. We're going to be talking. I had the weirdest 24 hours, and I want to talk about that today. It was so strange. It was so weird. But first, if you're new here, welcome to the Coffee Break Show. We go live Monday through Friday. We talk about tips, tools, techniques, inspiration, motivation, and those things that are going to bring you thrivability in your life. So if you're new here and it's your first time, put your name down below. We want to get to know you and introduce ourselves to you. And if you've been here and are a fan of the show, like so many people are, welcome back. Today's topic is going to be Tuesday Topics. We are talking about the weirdest 24 hours I have ever had in my life. See, you think about them and you look at them at movies and you think how weird this has been, what a weird, strange time it's been. And that's what happens. Good morning. I see you guys popping on. But I have to tell you how weird my last 24 hours was. Okay, so in the movies, there's always some of those movies where there's this strange person that kind of stalks you and does weird stuff to you. And ta-da, it's Tuesday. Thank you, Robin. Nice to see you on. So when I looked at what was happening, I had a really sensational day yesterday. I had some great things happening. It was my stepdaughter's birthday. And it was also a time where a piece of work hit a milestone. We were all celebrating. And all of a sudden, I had a little bit more work to do. And then I was going to go walk the dog. So we discovered our dog went missing. And we were looking around, as you can imagine. It was late last night. Our dog was gone. We live way, 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 way up in the mountains. And so being way up in the mountains, we actually thought maybe the coyotes got her, because what they do around here is if you're a dog, let's say you're a big dog, not a little dog's pretty easy to overtake. You can take a little dog and run off with it. But the coyotes want to go out and befriend you and kind of play with you and walk you into a trap where there are 3 or 4 coyotes that take you down and just eat you. And there you are. And that's it. Your dinner, your lunch, whatever you are. Welcome aboard. Nice to see you. And Karen is jumping on board right now. Hello, all, she said. Thank you for being here. And we have, ta-da, it's Tuesday. Drop your message out there. So what ended up happening is we spent hours looking for the dog. I mean, hours and hours. It's not just we had friends calling us. We'll go out and look for the dog, out there. So what ended up happening was we just couldn't find her. And she's getting older. She's going to be 10 years old this year. So she's not a young, spry chicken. And I thought, well, if there's more than one coyote, chances are that coyote got my dog. And so I was just trying to come to terms with it. And I realized that, if the coyote is there and it's the coyote, it's like God's will and everything else that this happened. So I surrendered to it. I was like, if this is your will that the dog is gone, then the dog is gone. But I had a really hard time sleeping. I couldn't sleep. It was the first time. And I did think this too. I thought maybe it was a mountain lion that ate my black standard male 2 years ago. And he lives in my neighborhood. So we live way, way up in the mountains, and wildlife here is real. Your neighbors are the bears and the mountain lions and the bobcats and the coyotes and everything is your neighbor, is where the 2-leggeds live with the 4-leggeds, live with the flight birds and everything else. Yeah, every crows and ravens and barn owls and eagles and Mexican eagles and, red-tailed hawks. Everything in nature that is here is vibrant. Beavers, every kind of antelope, deer, and wherever. It's very wild here. So I did think, well, maybe it was a mountain lion that took her down because she had been gone. So I went to sleep that night and I had a dream. And the dream told me where she was this morning. So I got up this morning and the dream was so weird. I didn't trust myself. And so I asked Robin, I said, where do you think our dog is? And she said, Vickie, she's gone. And I was like, great. Where's her dead body? Because, then I can bury her, or what we can see, or I wanted to have some closure. Where's my dog? And so I got up at the crack of morning and I got dressed, and I didn't trust myself again. And I was like, where do you think she is? And Robin was like, well, she could be anywhere. She could be over here because we hike there, and she could be over there because she hikes there. She could be over here. But I had this knowing. That this stalker that I talked about in the beginning. Have you ever had somebody stalk you? Well, we have somebody that we call her batshit, fill in her name, crazy. So it'd be like batshit crazy Sandra or batshit crazy Bob. So we call her batshit, not revealing her name. But for a while, every night, she goes in her car and she's up in the building that's a professional building next to us. And she parks the car and she turns on her lights and she puts on the high beams that go straight directly into our window at the house. And she'll sit in there for a long time with the high beams on. And we're like, it's just so crazy to see that. So what ended up happening was I saw it again last night. And I believe that she had taken my dog because she got so, hey, Sean, dreaming in real life. So what happened was I didn't trust my dream. My dream said that my dog was in that building over there. And I was like, there's no way. And I called. The intuition was so strong last night when I was looking for her. I called the landlord of the building because I used to have my business in that building. And I said, do you think this crazy woman would have taken my dog? And so they were like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm the crazy woman right now. I just don't know where my dog is. But when I went to sleep, that dream told me right where my dog was. And I got up and I doubted myself. I couldn't say the dog's over there, the dream said to me, because I didn't want to appear crazy. So what ended up happening was I asked my partner, where do you think the dog is? And she was like, I don't know. I don't know where the dog was. So we got dressed and we headed up a road that we walked the dog in the morning that goes right past the building. And I, thank God, got a really weird feeling. And I put my face against the window because I don't have keys to that building. And I looked in and I looked this way, and crazy lady had locked my dog into the building there all night. My dog was in that building. And lucky for me, I had access to the landlord because my business used to be in that building. So I called them and said, do you remember we talked about crazy lady last night, whether she had my dog? Well, she locked it in your building and I need you to come and open the door to let the dog out. And I was really afraid that the dog was in there like since 3:00 yesterday. I was afraid that she did number one and number two in the building. And I told them, I don't know if she's, pooped in there or done whatever she's done. She's just been locked up that whole time. And so all of a sudden, I felt myself and my dog looking at each other, and there was glass between us, and I couldn't get to her. And she was like, let me out. What's wrong with you? Let me out. I'm here. Let me out. So, of course, they came down. We got the dog out, and she just ran out and peed. She didn't do anything number one or number two inside the building where she was kind of kidnapped by a crazy lady who left. But she had spent the whole night there. And she had tried to get out the window by chewing the window out, trying to push it. And I couldn't get there. And it was a strange feeling because I spent the day settling into the fact that my dog passed away, and that there was a possible thing I was going to go ahead and, let go of and love so much and let go of and come to terms with the loss of my dog. There was a crazy feeling I felt when I was like, oh my God, you're alive, you're alive. But the thing that broke me this morning was that I didn't trust the information coming from me. And that's the whole point about living our lives. Our soul tells us everything. Our soul tells us where to go next, what we need to do, what's the next subject, your soul can tell you everything. All the information in your life about what you need to know is in your soul. And when it comes to you, if you don't believe it, you have given yourself the biggest self-sabotage you can ever do. And I caught myself not wanting to believe it, not wanting to be in that place where I look stupid to my partner again by saying that dog's over there, our dog's over there. And lucky for me, my partner is always 100% kind, really kind. And we were so excited that we found her. And I'm not trying to beat myself up for ignoring me. I'm trying to put a message out to everybody. I mean, you hear when mothers have their children kidnapped or something, they get a sense and they're not listening to the sense. And so many times they try to take that sense over to the police department and nobody's listening to them. And it's interesting. There was a child that was kidnapped. They wrote a book about her, and I can't think of her name right now, but she was kidnapped for 22 years, something like that. And her mother always knew she was going to see her daughter again and that they were going to find her and that she was still alive. And they say after day 3, if they haven't found you, you're probably not alive. And yet she was held by this captor. And of course, she ran away and, got away from this person. And there was a whole book written about her. But that same thing, I just want to go, this is beautiful because this is what I believe too. Yes, what is the lesson in that last 24 hours? That's the thing you got to look for. You've got to find the message of the universe trying to tell you what's going on. Everything happens for a reason. What have you learned from your experience? I'm glad about baby is safe and alive. And when I went looking last night, I could not get a sense of where she was. And this is one of my friends who went looking last night. And that's the thing. Everything in your life, including this pandemic and everything here, it's all happening for a reason. You chose to be birthed here. You could have been birthed on Earth in 1920, in 2025, in 1997, in World War II. You had a choice of when you could be here. You came here at the will of the divine.
You're frozen on everyone's screens and they're asking you to restart.
Okay, I'm going to end the broadcast and go now. Thank you. Tell them I will.